Evening peeps, good evening everyone. How are we all doing? Hopefully you're all doing very, very well. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button. If you guys are new to the channel, don't forget as well to like and share the vids. Also, don't forget, please follow me on Instagram, OLADIPO. Loads of content coming your way. I say content, behind the scenes stuff from all the boxing events I go to, Talk Sport. I'm doing a lot of stuff now for the Premier League next season as well. So there'll be a lot of behind the scenes stuff at all the Premier League stadiums and other bits and bobs as well, whatever comes up. So yeah, give me a follow if you haven't. It's OLADIPO. All right, by the time you guys are watching this, I'll be on my way to LA. For those of you that don't know, I think most of you do, I am going to be lead presenter on the Ryan Garcia JAVIER Fortuna fight this Saturday from the Crypto.com arena. I hate that name. Let's call it the Staples Center. So yeah, I fly out tomorrow morning. So yeah, if you are watching this, wish me good luck. I still get very, very nervous doing all types of things actually. Like a lot of people reached out to me and said my interview with Chizura after the fight was pretty good. And I'm like, shit, I'm just shitting myself talking. So yeah, thank you very, very much. So if you're watching this, wish me good luck. I am looking forward to it. I think as soon as I land, so obviously because of the time difference, it'll be Wednesday evening over there. I do a podcast with Chris Mannix on Friday. Akan Barak, the DAZN boxing show podcast on Thursday. Akan Barak on Friday. Fighter meetings as well. And then obviously Showtime on Saturday. So yeah, wish me good luck. We'll talk about Ryan Garcia in this video, but let's see what else there is to chat about first. What's this one? Golovkin on Canelos animosity. Maybe it's just the side effects of certain substances in the body. Golovkin is coming out swinging here. And look, he has a right to. I guess he's still feeling a bit aggrieved from their second fight, which fell off. Obviously, it was rescheduled, but it fell off because obviously Canelo failing at the time a drugs test. I say at the time because it has been sort of cleared up since. But obviously Golovkin still feels like, you know, when he's fighting Canelo's not clean. That's just what he believes. Whether or not that's true or not is another discussion, a whole nother video, but that's what he believes. Look, moving away from that, I think it's going to be a good fight. I know some people think that it will be one-way traffic. No way. No way. Mark my words. Like fucking, anyway, look, clip this bit up. If you guys are like that, clip this up. There is no way this is one-way traffic. Golovkin will cause him some problems. Should Canelo win? Yes, of course he should win. He's the younger of the two. I think we saw Golovkin fade in front of our eyes against Murata. Still found a way to win, which is key here. But you can see that he doesn't like it to the body anymore. There were times in that fight where I thought Murata could stop him. So it was scary for me as a Golovkin fan. But I still feel like Golovkin has something to offer. And I think he'll make a good fist of it. So we'll see how that one plays out. We haven't got long, you know. These fights, sort of big weekends, keep coming and rolling, and by the time you know it, you're there. What is it, September 17th? Is that what it is? So not long left at all. So yeah, looking forward to that one. Very, very interesting what he said about substances in the body. Liam Smith, Eubank Jr. should fight me, not call out welterweights in CONOR BENN. Yeah, look, if you're Liam Smith, obviously, look, Sky have obviously given him a big offer, hence the why he's left the zone and gone to Sky, but I mean, it's all well and good getting the big money, but who you fighting? I thought he was going over there to fight Eubank Jr. I thought that it was all sort of signed and sealed. Obviously not. Look, those rumours about Eubank Jr. and CONOR BENN aren't going away. And if you're Eubank Jr., as much as I've digged him a lot as well in the past, you've got to look at the risk-reward thing here. What's the risk in fighting Liam Smith? Quite a high one. I know Eubank's still the bigger guy of the two. Obviously, Liam Smith has campaigned throughout his career at 154 pounds. Eubank's gone to 168. But it's still a tough fight for Eubank Jr. and Liam Smith. Liam Smith still has a lot to offer. I think we've seen that in his last couple of fights. And then you look at the reward. Financially, the reward to fight CONOR BENN is 4 to 5 times more. And then you look at the risk. CONOR BENN's a welterweight. And although I think CONOR BENN's probably one of the most improved fighters I've seen in the last year, so not just here, but worldwide, by the way, he's still a welterweight who has only beaten faded welterweights. So you look at the risk and you think, 1 second, what should I do here? Should I fight Liam Smith, former world champion, you know, still a lot to offer, and get paid that amount? Or Should I fight a welterweight in Conor Benn, which is going to get fucking, I don't know, the biggest push ever that DAZN can give a fight and get paid 5 times. I'm just saying that. It might even be more than that. And then you'll be silly not to take the Conor Benn fight. Silly. So as much as Liam Smith's aggrieved at this, he would do exactly the same thing if an option like that was put to him. You just don't turn that down if you're Chris Eubank. If they've come to you and said, okay, we want to fight you, it's going to be big, big numbers. I think the only stumbling block for Eubank is where this weight will be. We're hearing, if it is going to happen, 155, 156. I mean, again, this is a guy that has been making 160 for a long time, and then even 168. People might say it's only 4 pounds, 5 pounds. You try and cut it. He has nothing to cut. This guy is lean throughout the year, so that's going to be a big problem. But I do not blame Eubank for taking this one. Eubank versus Benn. Mate, take my money right now. Bellew, Joshua capable of beating Usyk, must carry mental strength to the ring. I hear a lot of people say this about AJ. So his mental strength. Like every time I've been lucky enough to have interviewed AJ and I've spoken to AJ recently, and he seems like he's mentally tuned in. Sometimes you just got to look at the guy in the opposite corner. And, you know, as much as we'd like to break things down, maybe Usyk's just too good. You know what I mean? Usyk, by a lot of people's sort of rankings, is the pound for pound #1 right now. You know, he's unbeaten, you know, standout amateur. Now he's a fully fledged heavyweight. I saw him nose to nose. This guy's a fucking heavyweight. Maybe that guy's just too good. Maybe it isn't a mental. Maybe it's just everything else. You know, skills pay the bills. And it's not like AJ's 3 stone heavier. This isn't a Fury Wilder situation here where, yes, Wilder had that punch, but Fury's still 3 stone bigger. This isn't a Fury Usyk situation. AJ on the scales isn't that much bigger. I think Usyk will probably be around 228, 230. Maybe you know, a bit under, a bit over. AJ's probably going to be around 245 to 250. That's not, it's a lot, don't get me wrong, stone and a bit, but it's not the 3 or 4 stone that people are making it out to be. This isn't David versus Goliath. This will come down to skills paying the bills. Look, I want AJ to have a bit of the Chizura in him, having watched Chizura recently against Pulev, where you might have to walk through the fucking fire to get yours, but you're going to get it. I'd love him to do that. Walk down Usyk and bash him up. Ain't that easy. And I don't know if that comes down to mental strength. Maybe it does to an extent. Maybe it's a case of having to tell yourself, I'm going to go through some pain here. I'm going to risk myself getting knocked out, but that's the only way I'm going to win. Maybe that's what Tony Bellew is referencing. Luis Ortiz, still eager to avenge loss to Deontay Wilder, would fight him 3, 5 or 10 times. That's not going to happen. I do remember the first time. It was one of my first ever videos on this channel, actually. The first time, you guys can go and research it. I actually said that Ortiz would win, and I actually put a photo of Ortiz and said, and the new, when I used to create my own thumbnails, which weren't the greatest. I really thought Ortiz was going to beat Wilder, and he was close. He was close, but that was then. This is now. He's no. I mean, look, there's still something there. I mean, we saw that against Charles Martin, and hopefully we see it against Andy Ruiz. Like, I'm more hoping that we get to see a better Andy Ruiz, because he's the one that can go on for a few more years. Ortiz, we know's an old man. But I'm looking forward to that fight. Again, another one that we don't have too long to wait for. That fight's in September, so it's not long. Anthony Yarde trainer. We were cocksure, inexperienced. Now the experience is there. Happy that he can admit that they were a bit cocksure. Obviously, this is Tunde Ajayi speaking. Is the experience there? Well, yeah, I mean, the experience of fighting Kovalev in Russia, I mean, that, I'd love to, again, Anthony Yarde's one of the guests I want to get on. I'd love to know about that whole experience of going to Russia. That must not have been easy. Yes, they got paid well, and hey, it is what it is, but just the whole trip must have been difficult. So they have got a bit more experience. I think the experience on running it back with Lyndon Arthur, the pressure to make sure you got the W is good as well. Do I think all of this is enough to then fight Beterbiev? No, I don't. I really don't. It should be, and I'm going to keep saying this, it should be Buatsi versus Yard, especially now that the WBA have ordered Bivol to face Ramirez. So Buatsi's out there in the wilderness, really, with no one to fight. I mean, there are names out there he could fight, but he wanted Bivol. I think if you can't get the world champion and you're not going to get Beterbiev, then the next best thing for me is a domestic dust-up that generates a lot of money and puts you in a position where if you were to beat Yard, or if Yard beats Buatsi, then you're like, okay, let's all right, those guys are ready. Right now, you're a bit like that with both of them. In fact, you'd make both champions, Bivol or Beterbiev, huge favourites against Buatsi or Yard. But against each other, it's a 50-50 scrap. That's what I want to see anyway. Let's quickly talk about Ryan Garcia versus Javier Fortuna. Obviously, as I mentioned at the top of the show, I do fly out tomorrow for this one. Looking forward to it. Look, Ryan Garcia needs to move now, doesn't he? He needs to move now. We've had a couple of false dawns when it comes to Ryan. Obviously, the first one was the Luke Campbell performance where, hey, you're thinking, geez, all right, you can get off the canvas, yeah? Okay. And oh, you can land that body shot, yeah? Okay. I like it. And I was very impressed, again, to get up the way he got up. And Luke Campbell's no slouch, by the way. Luke Campbell can go some. Luke Campbell's a very good fighter. And I thought he walked into that fight with still a lot left. It wasn't a case of he has nothing left, he's done. No. Walked in with a lot left. And Ryan kind of showed me a lot in that fight. Showed me the skills, the hand speed, the punch power. And I was like, okay. And then obviously we had this long exit from boxing. And not just a long exit because he didn't fight anyone. An exit in the fact that he split up with the team Canelo. He's now with Goosen. So this is now kind of chapter 2. He had that fight against Emmanuel Tago, and look, it wasn't the greatest fight for a number of reasons. Tago didn't want to engage and actually fight, didn't come to win, just came to get a paycheck. And I think we saw a Ryan that was still had harboring a bit of traits from his former trainer and still almost trying to take on the new trainer's tactics as well. So it wasn't the best performance from Ryan, but we can give him that one. You can give him that one. You've been out of the ring for so long, and you know you're in between trainer styles, and I think I still see that. I don't know if you guys saw him hitting the heavy bag recently. His left is still the same, but his right, he's trying to do something with his right hand, and I don't know if that's just the way he throws his right, or if he's trying to implement something that Goosen has told him to do. I'm not quite sure. So I still think we're trying to learn about what Ryan Garcia is going to look like going forward. Against Javier Fortuna, he's obviously fighting a former world champion. He's only lost 3 times. Sosa stopped him. Went to points with Robert Easter and got beat by Jojo Diaz. Has had a fight since the Jojo Diaz loss, but that was just a 1-round blowout. So we don't quite really know where Fortuna is either, but he comes to fight Fortuna. He's going to be a lot smaller than Ryan. Ryan looks like someone that's really now grown into the 135-pound division. So much so, I don't see him staying there too long. But he'll come to fight. He'll bring Ryan some problems, and hopefully Ryan's not overlooking him. I listened to an interview that Ryan did with Gareth A. Davis, and Ryan talking about Gervonta Davis, mentioned Loma, mentioned Devon, and I'm like, well, you got work. You got work to handle on Saturday. Let's not start to overlook opponents. Let's not, because that's when we can get a bit sloppy. And Fortuna's good enough to cause him some problems. Good enough to beat Ryan? Shouldn't be. Honestly, he shouldn't be. I mean, Ryan, is looked at as one of the future superstars of boxing. I mean, whether or not you agree with that statement, it's just fact. Ryan is looked at as one of the future superstars. But he does need to do some work now. The others have done some work. Win or lose, the others have done some work. Teofimo beat Vasily Lomachenko. Yes, he lost to Kambosos, but he done his work in beating Vasily. Like, he beat a pound for pounder. Gervonta's always done some work. Leo Santa Cruz was work. Isaac Cruz was work. Pedraza was work. So Leo's done his work. Devon went to Australia. Devon went by himself to Australia without his dad. Obviously, his dad followed him, but he was going on that plane by himself. No Ben Davison, not his dad, and he was going with Yoel Judah. And he got the belts. He's now undisputed. They've all done work apart from Ryan. So Ryan needs to get past Fortuna and then do some work. I doubt he can get the Gervonta Davis fight. I mean, it's all well and good talking about it, but I doubt it. And it's not even just a case of a broadcast issue. The problem with boxing right now is that you've got managers that don't like each other. You've got promoters that slag each other off. We see it. Promoters go at each other let alone broadcast problems. So unless there's fucking, I don't know, 9 figures on the table, it's like something ridiculous, honestly, unless there's something ridiculous, these fighters ain't fighting. That's the only way. Obviously 9 figures was a bit of hyperbole, but the only way in which these fighters will get in the ring and everyone can shake hands and smile and fucking do kumbaya around the fire is if there's a lot of money. And as big as Ryan versus Gervonta is, I don't know if it generates that kind of money yet. I don't know. So maybe he's going to have to look and do work elsewhere before he gets one of those guys. It looks like Devon's tied in to George Kambosos. The only real name, and again, it's difficult because he's on Top Rank, is Lomachenko. We don't know what's going on. Mentally, you don't know where he is. Obviously, you know, we know he's in Ukraine and that situation is still ongoing. So look, I don't know. I am excited to see Ryan Garcia in the flesh. I do want to see what he's like. I've met him a few times, a really nice guy. But that all aside, I want to see him start racking up some really big wins. And then I think he will go to 140 sooner rather than later. But we'll see. Anything else before we pack up? There's a bit here on Jake Paul, Hasim Rahman. I actually want to do a separate video. I might do it now, actually, about Jake Paul. Because I think I've had enough of people disrespecting him. I think I've started to turn and become a Jake Paul fan. Like, not even give him respect, but actually become a fan of his. And I'll explain why a bit later. Danny Garcia versus Jose Benavidez. Let's have a look at the undercard. Garcia's obviously first fight, 154 pounds. We got Derevyanchenko who's going to take on Joshua Conley. It's a middleweight contest. Anything else of interest? Adam Kawanaki returned to action as well. Interesting. 10-round heavyweight clash. Obviously, we haven't seen Kawanaki since he lost back-to-back fights against Lanius. J-Rock, it's a decent card. J-Rock's on the card as well. He's going up to middleweight. You got to love J-Rock. J-Rock's a good fighter. Anything else? We got light heavyweight. We got Junior Yunnan, 16-0-1, 10 knockouts. In a super middleweight class. Okay, some decent stuff here. Some decent stuff. I have no idea what Danny Garcia is going to look like at 154 pounds. I just feel like he's just undersized. I just think it comes down to that. Like, obviously, we knew that the punch power had gone when he moved up to 147. So I don't know what he's going to do to some of these kids at 154 pounds. Broner, I'm going to do a separate video on Broner. Obviously, he's back, take some Figueroa. Yeah, we'll do a separate video on Broner because I've got a bit to say about him. But we'll see. Is there anything else? What's this? Caleb Plant, I'm right there at all-time great level. Okay. Anything? Tony Bellew here, saying he wants Chizura to stay far away from Deontay Wilder. This is very interesting how people have been split on this one, and I get it. I finally understand why people have been split. Some of you have been saying that he should fight Deontay Wilder. I'm like, you guys are crazy, but then you've left your reasons why underneath the video, and you say, well, at least Chizura just one punch KOs him. You'd rather have that than a sustained back and forth warrior type fight with a Dillian White. And I actually get that. I do get that. Like, do you want one big forehammer blow, or do you want potentially 100 hammer blows? Give me the one big forehammer. It will hurt. Well, I'm not saying it won't hurt. It will hurt. But I do believe that Wilder knocks him out in one punch. Whereas we know, because we've seen it, him versus Dillian White is brutal. It maybe wasn't as brutal in the second fight. It was brutal for Chizura because he got knocked out. But we've seen it from the first fight. These guys can just land on each other like continually for 12 rounds. So maybe for his health, although it sounds stupid, maybe the Wilder fight isn't the dumbest thing. I don't know. I kind of understand the argument. Look, I don't even want him personally. I do not want him anywhere near Deontay Wilder. But I get what you guys are saying. I really do. Anything else? I don't know if I'm going to Saudi anymore, which is very, very disappointing, isn't it? Obviously, look, DAZN, I just assumed, like most people, that DAZN were going to show it over here, that they're going to win the broadcast. I didn't even think, I say win, I didn't even think it was up for fucking winning. I thought they just had it. But I don't know if they're going to do the international rights now, which will be very, very disappointing. So if they don't, obviously we'll do a live watch along, or I might just go out there and watch it. I think I can get press accreditation. I'd like to think so, and I'll just pay for myself to go out there and maybe just do some old school content, get a video camera, whatever it is, and do some old school content out there and interview. And because obviously I do work for Matchroom and DAZN, I should be able to get sort of into places that maybe some other people can't. So hopefully I'll get some sort of backstage passes and shit. We'll decide. Let me just find out first if DAZN are going to win the international rights. If they do, then obviously I'm out there for it. But if they don't, then yeah. It's like have a decision to make. It's all good. It's all good. Either way, look, doing the live watch long will bring in great numbers anyway, and they're always fun. And we haven't done one for a while. Going out there would be good though. It'll be good. I was out there last time and I enjoyed it, so it'll be nice to go again. All right, peace.